So the million-dollar question is, why is this sell-off happening? You know, crypto markets have officially raced over $1 trillion of market cap since October 6th. Crypto adoption is still at record highs. Deregulation is in full swing and technology is advancing rapidly. However, leverage is at unprecedented levels, which is amplifying moves in the market, such as the $20 billion liquidation that we saw on October 10th. And as a result, when uncertainty arises or technical momentum fades, downward swings are amplified. We saw over 300,000 traders being liquidated per day on average, and the market has evolved into the most reactive form in history, regardless of Donald Trump's bullish headlines. So the long-term thesis is stronger than ever from an adoption standpoint, but the short-term picture points to larger swings to liquidate leveraged traders. And there's massive rumors out there about Wintermute versus Binance after the October crash, because in the past 30 days alone, $34.5 billion have been traded between the two. Binance sends, 10 to 100 million chunks of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana to Wintermute wallets hours before every major dump. Wintermute then market sells on Binance, triggering cascading liquidations. And then Binance pockets the funding rate fees and Wintermute pockets the spread. Retail longs get wiped out, and then whales refill on the bid. So there's been a lot of rumors out there of people claiming that Wintermute, one of the largest market makers, is preparing to sue Binance over unfair ADL executions during the October 10th crash that liquidated nearly $20 billion in positions. And then Binance confirmed that their systems were overloaded, massive ADL triggers, but denied any preferential treatment or internal errors. But Wintermute CEO just posted this, saying literally nothing changed since this tweet. We never had plans to sue Binance, nor see any reason to do in the future. I should probably ask to make a note of all the people spreading baseless rumors, but most of people believing these have goldfish memory capacity, so I won't. So there's no lawsuit for now, but one thing is very clear. After the October crash, no one fully trusts centralized exchanges anymore. And this isn't just retail selling here. This is engineered liquidity. The goal has been simple. It's to make retail sell the bottom. It's brutal, but it's effective, and it's intentional. And if we go to Google Trends right now, we just type in crypto, it's 34 out of 100 over the past 5 years. So, people aren't that interested in crypto from a retail standpoint. They're more interested in tech stocks. So we can see tech stocks are flying. Gold has printed new all-time highs. Every asset is virtually up except for the crypto market. And one could argue that that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Retail left months ago. They chase tech stocks. They always do, and they always lose. Where only institutions remain that are creating the framework for which the new financial system will run on, like BlackRock, Fidelity, the hedge funds. So altcoins didn't die by accident. They were starved on purpose. Institutions don't want retail to make money. But the laws are ready, the banks are ready, the system is ready. And a lot of people are saying that when they press go, this won't be a bull run. It will be a financial reset. The rich people know it, the smart are quietly preparing, and everyone else is asleep right now. So if we look at the Bitcoin to the US dollar price chart on the weekly here, we can see the stochastic RSI is still down here at 10 and 10 in oversold conditions. The relative strength index is at a very critical point of support right now that it was at all the way back here in March of 2025, all the way back here in September of 2024, right at the 50 EMA. Now we did go below it on the 5th of August right here on this wick. And then we also did go below it right here on the 7th of April. So it wouldn't be abnormal for Bitcoin to wick below it and then to get bought up over the next 24 hours. We do have a full moon. I believe it's tomorrow or the next day. So I do expect there to be a bounce for Bitcoin. And also on the weekly here, because we are oversold on the stochastic RSI, at some point, this will reverse back to the upside. So the real question is, how low do we go on this weekly close here? Or will we see this massive wick to the downside and us to hold on top of the 50 EMA before bouncing higher? So like I just talked about in my video yesterday, so this is why we're seeing Bitcoin's dominance continue to rally higher. If we go into the daily chart here, we can see the RSI is at 67. We're not yet in really overbought conditions above 70 here. That shows that Bitcoin's dominance could go even higher. The good news that I have for you guys is if you have any money on the sidelines, this could present an amazing buying opportunity on the daily here when we see the stochastic RSI come down a little bit lower. So have a little more patience here. Watch for the stochastic RSI to reset closer to 0. The relative strength index is at 29 right now. But each time that we dipped below 30 on the relative strength index was during these massive sell-offs. The last time was all the way back here in February to March when Bitcoin sold off from $96,000 to $78,000. Then we saw an aggressive pump back to the upside, and the stochastic RSI experienced a bullish cross and aggressive recovery back to the upside, back to the 50 EMA. So once this low is in and the stochastic RSI is bottomed out, I would expect there to be an aggressive recovery to the upside, and we could see Bitcoin come all the way back to the 50 EMA, and that would be roughly around $106,000 to $107,000. So we'll see where this low is in, but expect there to be a massive aggressive recovery pump for Bitcoin after we see a bullish cross on the stochastic RSI. I would wait for it to go below 20. I wouldn't get aggressively bullish right now. There still could be some more selling pressure. As I mentioned in my last video, I would expect these stop losses to get hit by the market makers to flush out the long traders, because what long traders do is they set their stop loss beneath a previous support, and that would be this wick right here. So they like to set it a percentage point or two. So it'd be likely for Bitcoin to then go below that and then make an aggressive recovery back to the upside like I talked about in my video yesterday. So this would be my expectations. Bitcoin to sweep down here at like $93,000 to $96,000 and then make a recovery back up to then intersect the 50 EMA over the next few days and the next few weeks. Then we will reevaluate this chart right here depending on where we're at within the next week or two. Now, if Bitcoin continues to the downside here, well, altcoins are going to bleed out even more, which confirms the Bitcoin dominance strength here. Now Bitcoin's dominance is at 60%, and we're going to continue to climb higher for Bitcoin's dominance, most likely between 50% to a 618 retracement right here before we turn around to the downside. So the safest play here, if you want allocation in the crypto market, is really just to be in Bitcoin, because until Bitcoin really gets back up here near its previous highs and starts to make a new all-time high, it doesn't really make much sense to hold many altcoins. If you have like 10, 20 altcoins, your portfolio is going to get absolutely destroyed over the next week or two. And I'm going to replay this video for you if you're holding altcoins, if you don't want to rotate to Bitcoin. Again, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you to sell anything. This is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you the facts that I see on the charts, and you have to remain stoically logical about these things. So Bitcoin's dominance is still in a short-term uptrend in a retracement here after this pullback, and it's highly likely that we go higher because look at the stochastic RSI. We're at 90 and 79. We still have more momentum to the upside, and then I would expect the stochastic RSI to experience some type of cross up here closer to 100, while Bitcoin's dominance is anywhere between 61% to 62 or 63%. And then we experience a pullback on Bitcoin's dominance, potentially December or January. This could take a little while to play out to the end of the year. And right now, Bitcoin is at such a critical level because multiple closes below the 50-week EMA would confirm the top being in, as it always has each cycle, according to Ben Cowan. Regardless of whether the top is in or if we go slightly higher, he thinks 2026 will be a bear market just like all prior midterm years. And I'm in agreement with him. I've been saying that since 2022. Now, total 2 right now is below the 50-week EMA as well. So it's not over just yet. What would tell me that this is over is if we see the 20-week EMA crossing below the 50-week EMA for both Bitcoin and altcoins. And so I do believe there would be a bounce to the upside. If we are going to go into a bear market and this was the top, well then, if we compare back to the last bull run cycle, where us breaking down below the 50-week EMA, the stochastic RSI was all the way down here close to 0. We're now seeing the stochastic RSI down here close to 0. It's at 6.95 for both the K line and the D line. So similar to this breakdown right here, if this bull run is over, this is just hypothetically speaking, but nonetheless, there would most likely be a bounce back to the upside for a complacency stage high if the high is in, for a lower high before we really go into the bear market. So a lot of people are going to panic sell this right here. And I think that's not the best move because we're all the way down here on the stochastic RSI. The best move is to sell a recovery bounce because they've always happened in a bear market. For example, going back to 2017, 2018, after we saw this sell off down below the 20 and the 50-week EMA, the stochastic RSI was all the way down here. We saw a recovery dead cat bounce right here to form a lower high after the bull market peak was in, and the stochastic RSI bounced all the way up on the recovery. So the smartest thing to do right now would be to just wait for a recovery, or if you're going to rotate to Bitcoin, if you don't want to see your altcoins absolutely get destroyed over the next couple of weeks, because Bitcoin's dominance is still looking strong, my expectations would be for altcoins to just range down here for a little bit before making that bounce. So unless we see an aggressive recovery right now, altcoins are just not looking so hot. And that's just the facts. You have to be emotionally indifferent for that.